few years ago, people on Reddit, 4chan, and other online forums started talking about something called tulpas. A tulpa is an ancient Buddhist concept that means basically an imaginary friend, a being that exists only in the mind. These people weren't Buddhists, but they liked the idea of tulpas and they started a community. They called themselves tulpamancers. Are these people insane? Or are they just using the internet as a place to experiment with different kinds of identity? To find out, I'm going to meet Sam, a computer engineer, and KT, Sam's tulpa. Sam is a 24-year-old computer programmer, and KT is her tulpa. And what that means is that Sam is the host to an imaginary friend that she's named KT, who has thoughts and feelings and actions of his own. So when Sam becomes KT, there's a whole different person there. And I want to understand how it works, what a tulpa is, and what happens to Sam when she changes into KT. Most tulpamancers are pretty shy about speaking publicly, but Sam wants to bring the tulpa movement out of the shadows and get social acceptance for it. When did you learn about tulpas?
My friend had actually sent me a chat log of him messaging his friend's tulpa, and we were both like, there's no way this is real. And then I started to read up on it, and I finally decided maybe this is for me, and I created a tulpa.
So describe to me the moment that KT came into existence.
I was sitting I was meditating, and I just thought, hey KT, my name is Sam. I'm going to be your host. It's very nice to meet you. I just followed the guide. And all of a sudden, I get a head pressure, which tulpas can do. Wow.
Does KT have a physical appearance?
Yeah, he has sort of two forms. He has a human form with ears and tail, and sometimes he goes into a regular silver fox form.
Can he talk?
Oh yeah. We talk all the time, and it could be through speech, it could be through raw thought, emotion.
And what is KT like? Describe him to me.
He's very cynical, but he's very happy to help people.
He identifies as male, and you identify as female?
Yeah.
And can he control your body?
Yes.
How much control do you, Sam, have over KT?
I have pretty much equal amounts of control. I know KT is responsible not to do anything, but tulpas can do anything hosts can. They're pretty much your best friends.
Can I talk to KT?
Sure. Surprise! Hey.
Hi, KT.
What's up?
How are you?
Camera shy. Hot.
Yeah, it's hot in here. Are you having a good day?
So far, yeah. I've just been hanging back and watching.
Nice. And I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. So looking at Sam and KT each speaking, it's clear that there's something real happening there. You can see the shift when Sam becomes KT. It's not just the ponytail, it's the posture and the sort of countenance and the attitude. These are clearly two different people, or different parts of a person that are appearing. So it seems pretty real to me. There isn't a whole lot of research about how tulpamancy works inside the brain. But a professor of anthropology at McGill University has studied the tulpa movement for the last several years, and he thinks it's just a new expression of a very old phenomenon.
What the cognitive science research on religion and spirituality in particular shows is that the human mind has an ability to attribute human characteristics to things that are not human. So this is why we see faces in the clouds, or we imagine that there's a boogeyman under the bed. But what recent anthropology has shown is that you're going to try to see faces in the cloud. You're going to visualize faces in the cloud. You're going to have a group of people that kind of reinforce that at some point you can actually have experiences that would be medically considered hallucination because you see things that are not there materially. But again, it doesn't mean that you're crazy, and it's possible to do this in ways that are very positive, that create a sense of meaning and identity for people who engage in those practices.
So some tulpamancers have looked at like scientific papers that have related this to like multiplicity or like dissociative disorder. What do you think about that?
Ways of being a person can differ from culture to culture and has changed over time. It helps us see that maybe having more than just one person inside you does not need at all to be crazy or to be pathological. So I understand that some people would want to think of tulpamancy as a form of pathological dissociation, but I think it's very inaccurate.
So, okay, having a tulpa doesn't mean you're a schizophrenic or have a multiple personality disorder, but it's still kind of odd. And I'm curious how Sam explains her tulpa to her family and friends. So show me tulpa.io.
Tulpa.io is a website that me and a few friends created. It sort of started out as a blog with resources. So this thread is about like how to explain tulpamancy to like friends, family, loved ones.
What are the pieces of advice? There are like 3 rules here.
You know, make it look like a small deal, just like a little thing you've done, not an obsession. You know, tulpas are abnormal. Make them understand that tulpas will have a positive impact on your life and they're very healthy. And like explain tulpas simply and in an understandable way.
How did your parents feel when you told them?
My mother like pretty much faked a smile and then was basically went to my brother and said, "Oh my God, this is so weird. Like, have you heard of this?"
So is part of the reason you made this site to have something that you could show your family and friends to explain why you do this?
Yeah, and it's also for other people who, you know, if they want other information or to show like, hey, here's what I'm doing, you know, this site exists.
Huh. For Sam and KT, the internet is not just a tool. It's a lifeline. It's the way that you find other people who are experiencing the same thing as you, and it produces empathy and it produces common experience, and that's really powerful and interesting. So if someone came to you and said, I have a tulpa, it's a persistent, autonomous being that lives with me inside my body and can take over or give back control, would that strike you as a problem?
The only thing that we really look at particularly as problems in psychology is when it interferes with functioning.
I think about all the billions of people in the world who have running conversations in their head with a divine being.
Absolutely.
It doesn't seem that weird when you put that into the landscape of tulpamancy.
Because those of us who experience the presence of God really experience the presence of God. Somebody who doesn't have that sense is going to see it as bizarre.
Well, I think what the skeptic would say is, well, yeah, we all have imaginary friends as kids. That's part of being a kid. But then we grow out of it.
Well, but let's think about it. Let's think about it in the aspect of Jack Kornfield, who is a master teacher in meditation. One of the meditations he does with people is to visualize your guide. Is it, you know, somebody from your family? Is it a religious icon? Is it someone from history? And imagine that person guiding you through a stressful moment in your life. Is that childish? I don't think so. I think that's very, very sophisticated and wise.
And tell me a little bit about yourself. When were you born? How did you come about?
So I was born about a year and a half ago. I came from nowhere. Like, my first memories were like very blank, very dark.
Does it hurt your feelings when people don't think you're real?
Not really.
How do you feel like Sam is doing these days?
Remarkably better than she has been. Earlier this year, Sam was having constant anxiety attacks and depression attacks, and it lasted all throughout the spring semester, and she failed a lot of her classes. So when she got a new job out here, she was elated. It was so fun seeing her so happy for the first time in a few months.
Is there anything you don't like about sharing a body with Sam?
Just the way the body is, that it's overweight. I've been volunteering to take control and like get on an exercise bike. Another thing I don't like is that it doesn't feel like me. It feels like I'm wearing like a robot skin whenever I take control.
So you lost your father at a pretty young age. Was it like a lonely childhood?
It wasn't so much that as it was caused by something else. Like, we couldn't afford the house anymore. We couldn't repair the house. And moving like 4 times in like 4 years kind of took a toll on me.
And so in those moments, would you just go to your room and sort of be by yourself, or did you have other interests and friends that you would lean on?
Just mostly by myself. I just like cry in my room. I wonder what was wrong with me.
And how long did that happen?
Pretty much for several years in my teenage years, and I sort of acted out. I was sort of like the problem child in school just because the teachers really didn't know how to handle me.
And so would it be fair to say that you felt like pretty isolated?
Yeah.
When you sort of met KT or had him come into your life, how did that change that feeling of isolation?
I sort of fell in it by random chance, but it's like, this is pretty much what I need.
I imagine that there is some part of you that wishes that KT had a body and a form, and you could hang out together and not have to share this body.
Yeah, particularly when I just need a hug, you know. KT tries, but I can't really feel it. So that always gets me down, that's all. It always gets him down.
When I first heard about tulpas, I thought this is just like people who haven't grown out of having imaginary friends. But I think it's more than that. At least for Sam it is. Like, KT makes her happy. Like, she was pretty depressed and pretty chronically anxious. And KT helped her with that. And so I don't know if tulpas are real. I don't know what cognitive science is going to teach us about it. But I do know that for this one person, it's really the difference between living a happy, satisfied life and not.